The Unfiltered by Jade.
Jade. Welcome to The Unfiltered by Jade, where we educate, empower, and entertain. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, download, donate, and make everybody know about this.
Beats by RB Records.
Shopping assistance, your style, your budget. Our services include online and local shopping for individuals and businesses, personal shopping, purchasing of company and office supplies, importing and exporting small packages across Jamaica and worldwide, and helping you find unique gifts and items for all events and occasions. Contact us at 876-919-5195 or shoppingassistance2015@gmail.com. Shopping Assistance, your style, your budget.
Welcome back to The Unfiltered by Jade. Today we have with us here Rod Jitter. And today we're going to speak about conflict resolution. Why be angry when you can resolve your conflicts in relationships? So Rod, he does couple coaching. He is an author and best-selling author. He's a TEDx speaker and he's a content creator. Hi, Rod.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, Jade.
Yes, good to have you here.
I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. Okay, so today I want to speak about conflict resolution, and you are perfect for this conversation here.
I think so.
So I wanted us to jump right into it, Rod.
Okay.
How should one approach a conflict with a partner?
So, first, Jade, I want to ask your listeners to go to my website, ybangry.net. The words ybangry.net. And near the top, there's a link where they can click on and get 3 free tips. And it'll just ask for their email address. And then I will send them a short video where of 3 free tips of how to, resolve conflicts without arguing.
Right.
Okay. So that's a good start. But outside of that, I find that people argue when they don't understand each other. And the game that I created really does, it creates provides a structure so for couples to communicate clearly, and which allows them to resolve their disagreements very quickly. And it just works every time if you follow the rules. Okay, so this game is designed to help couples stay together one issue at a time. And what that means is if you're able to handle issues as they come up, just one at a time, then a lot of issues don't build up, and you're not in a situation where he's arguing with her about her food while she's arguing with him about what the front yard looks like, if that's the roles that they play. They're not even arguing about the same thing. Well, if every time any little issue comes up, if we're able to talk about it and see eye to eye and squash it, then we're good. We just move on with our lives and just handle the next issue as it comes up. So what this game requires you to do is to agree to settle one issue today. So, for example, the issue I use all the time is, should we buy a new car? So we have to agree on one issue. Should we buy a new car? And we take that issue that we have, the problem that we have, and we convert it into a yes or no question. Well, should we buy a new car? It's already a yes or no question. So that's the object of the game today, for us to decide, should we buy a new car? Yes or no? Let's say you feel like the answer is yes, and I feel like the answer is no. And this is what we have agreed to talk about. For one, we started in agreement. That's a win. I've agreed to talk about it. And let's say, for example, if I was trying to watch the football game and you came to me complaining about the car and wanted to buy a new car, well, I'm not trying to hear it right now. And whatever you're saying, I'm probably not really listening to you or giving you 100% because you're talking to me at a time where I haven't agreed to talk to you about it yet. I'm focused on something else, right? So right now, I'm actually focusing on you and this issue. So you have 100% of my attention. So we are doing good. Now, the next step is I believe this issue is made out of several details. You have several reasons why you believe the answer is yes, we should buy a new car. And I probably have a few reasons why I believe the answer is no. So what you're going to do, you're going to take one of the cards and you'll write down one reason on one card why you think we should buy a new car. And let's say your first reason is this car is broken down 3 times in the last 2 months. Okay, and then now you're going to take another car because you have another reason, and you'll say this car is it's ugly, and you write that down. And then you take another card and you say this car is 40 years old. Okay, once you have all your reasons written down, and it can be 5 or 6 or 7 reasons, you're going to take those reasons and you will rank them in order of importance, how relevant they are to this issue of should we buy a new car. Now, you break it down 3 times in the last 2 months, that might be a 10 to you, the most important. It being ugly might be an 8 to you, and it being 40 years old might be a 7 to you. Now, for me, my answer was no, I don't want to buy a new car. My number one reason might be my dad gave me this car, and to me, that might be a 9. And another reason might be if this car breaks, I can fix it. It's not like those new cars. So that might be an 8 for me, and a 7 for me might be, or a 6 for me might be, we can't really afford it. Now we're going to take those cards, stack them all together in order of importance with the most important ones on top. Okay. So in this situation, we have one issue we're trying to resolve. Should we buy a new car? That issue is made up of 6 details. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to drill down more and focus even more on just one detail at a time. Because even though we've agreed to focus on one issue, should we buy a new car, you can throw all your reasons to me. If I'm turning around throwing all my reasons back to you, it's still a bunch of drama. We're not focused. So let's just focus on the most important thing, which was your 10. It was on the top, and that was this car's broken down 3 times in the last 2 months. So what we do is we take the top card. It's your card. So you're going to tell me what you wrote and how important that is to you. So you pick up the card, you're going to say, this car is broken down 3 times in the last 2 months, and that's a 10 for me. Now, all the steps on one side of the card, you're going to handle. All the steps on the back side of the card, I'll handle. There's just 14 steps total. So that took us through steps 1 through 3. Steps 4 is next. That's for me to handle. It's on the other side. Now, in my opinion, steps 4 and 5 are the most important steps in the game. Here, I will repeat back to you what I believe you mean in my own words and follow that with step 5, which is that right? So I'm going to say, well, let me back up. So what this does is it's going to allow you to feel heard. And when I do respond to your point later, I can respond to what you actually mean, not something I thought you meant based on what my life has shown me. So I'm going to say, step 4. So what you're saying to me is this car is broken down 3 times in the last 2 months. So like you're embarrassed by that. Then I'm going to say, is that right? And you'll say, no. See, this is where leveling the playing field comes in at.
Mhm.
I have to make sure I understand you. So even though you might not have been able to articulate what you meant, before we move forward, we're going to have a meeting of the minds. So I try again. So what you're saying to me is this car is broken down 3 times in the last 2 months and you don't feel safe. And you'll say yes. Okay, now I'm able to move forward. Step 6, I have to say whether this detail is or is not true. Now, I'm going to say this detail is not true. So Jade, as you can imagine, it's hard to resolve an issue when we can't even agree on the details of the issue,
Mhm.
right? So I said this detail is not true. So I like it when I'm coaching a couple and one couple says something and the other couple responds with the is not true, because I know for sure if they can come to an agreement on the facts, then they're probably going to settle this issue right away. So now step 7, I have to say how relevant this detail is to me. The detail that you feel the car is broken down 3 times over the last 2 months. Well, I'm going to say that's a 10, and you don't feel safe. I'm going to say that's a 10 to me too. Well, what that has done is it kind of lets you know I care about how you feel, and it sort of validated your feelings.
Right.
So step 8 is where I actually respond to what you have written, and I write it first, okay, before I talk. So when I'm coaching people, I have to remind them, no, because they start to talk and say, no, you have to write first. This writing slows the communication time down, and it gives both people time to think. People, like on one of the videos said, you know what? I had to ask myself, is this what I really mean? Is this really what I want to say? And you don't really have time to do that, usually when you're just arguing and going back and forth. So I'm going to write down something, and then I'm going to tell you what I wrote. So let's say I wrote something like, okay, you feel like the car's broken down 3 times over the last 2 months, but one of those times I said it wasn't true because one of those times you ran over a nail, and that can happen on a brand new car. So now steps 9 is next, 9 and 10, which is on your side. Here, 9 and 10 is just like steps 4 and 5. Here, you have to repeat back to me what you believe I mean in your own words, and then ask me, is that right? So you're going to say, so what you're saying to me is, since I ran over a nail, and that can happen on any car, this car only really broke down 2 times in the last 2 months. Is that right? I'm going to say yes. So now you've made your big point. I responded to your big point, and we both understood each other. So we move to step 11, which is a focused discussion debate. Here, we go back and forth and we talk about it. We don't write. We just talk about it. And it doesn't matter who starts. So I might say something like, well, honey, I didn't understand how you felt about the car breaking down so much. It wasn't a big deal to me because, I always fix the car, don't I? If it breaks down, don't I always come and get you and I fix it? So it wasn't a big deal to me. But now I see how you might be concerned that whether the car is going to work when you get in the car and to come home from the grocery store or to go or come from work, or if you're with the kids. So that happened. What I just did was kind of a one-way conversation, but let's say we went back and forth a little bit and we agreed. So yeah. And you told me, well, and honey, you can keep this car if you want to. I know you love it, but I just need dependable transportation. And I say, oh, okay, I understand that. We can get another car. Well, and it just settles that. And that was much easier than you trying to talk to me. Come in the house, or let's say you're going to go to the grocery store, and because you know that car is not dependable, you're a little nervous or anxious or frustrated. So you come to me while I'm watching the game. Honey, we really do need to buy a car. I'm like, girl, that car is fine. We really haven't really handled your real concern, which was your safety. And I wasn't really listening to you anyway because you approached me at the wrong time, in my opinion.
And how?
Yes. Yes. So step 12 is where is on my side of the card again. Here, I have to say what I took from this short interaction on this one card. And ideally, I'll start with I feel better because, and that's written on the card. So I'm going to say, I feel better because now I understand why that car stresses you so much. And I'm glad you don't have to worry. You're not going to have to keep worrying about that. So, but I have to write that first. I have to write it. And it gives me a chance to think again. And then I tell you. Then step 13 is on your side, and where you have to tell me what you took from this interaction. And Jade, so often the lady will simply say, I feel better because I feel heard. Okay? Because they actually finally had a conversation where they were both paying attention and listening, which doesn't happen a lot. We approach the person at the wrong time or with the wrong tone of voice, and they just aren't listening to us. And if I can sidetrack 1 minute, Super Bowl weekend a couple weekends ago, that the Wednesday before that, a lady reached out to me. Now, this lady had been bending my ear back for almost 2 years with problems she was having with her husband. But she agreed to buy into my program. So I said, you know what? I know they have a lot of issues. So I'm going to drive all the way down to Fort Myers, Florida. I was at my parents in South Carolina. So I drove down there, and the Saturday before the Super Bowl, I sat with that couple, and in less than 12 hours, I helped them resolve 9 issues. 9 big issues in less than 12 hours. And that included them taking me out to lunch and driving me around town, showing me the remnants of some hurricane that came through a year or two ago, Hurricane Iona or something like that. So now I mentioned that to say, when we were after we had settled the 4th issue, the lady got frustrated. And she was like, well, I don't get it. I'm not saying anything now, but I haven't said 100 times before. And so I told her, I said, well, probably if you are telling him something for the 50th time, you're probably not saying it with the same calm manner you might have told him on the 1st and 2nd time. So he might, a wall might go up. He might get defensive and not really hear you. And also, if you are telling him for the 75th time, even though he might need to be told again, he might feel like you're nagging him and he might not really be hearing you. Whereas to now, where, in this environment, in the game environment, he's actually listening to you and you actually presenting it in a way where he can hear it. So, okay. So back to the steps. We went through steps 13. Step 14 is the last step. Now, step 14 has 2 parts. The first part of that, you and I both have to agree. Was there any progress with this one detail card that we just handled, which was this card's broken down 3 times in the last 2 months? Did we make any progress? What do you think? What do you think, Jade?
Yes, we made progress.
Okay, you think so? Yes? Mm-hmm. I think yes, so I'm going to circle yes. The next part of that step is, was there enough progress to win the game? So, see, this is the kind of game where we can't win by ourselves. The relationship has to win or we both lose. Here, we're on the same side. The issue is the problem, not my partner. Me and my partner are actually working together. We're on the same team to solve the issue. So, was there enough Do you think there was enough progress to win the game? You have to say yes, and I have to say yes. Otherwise, we move to the next most relevant card. Well, in this situation, I agreed to that we should go ahead and get enough cards, so we would say yes.
Mm-hmm.
We won. We have won the game, and the game is over. Now, what we would do is there were 5 more cards that we didn't talk about. We would pick up the cards, and whoever card it is, they would tell that person what they've written and how important it is to them, just for full disclosure, so that we get everything out.
Mm-hmm.
So when I follow back up with my clients after about 6 months, I find that whatever it was that they worked on is still good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's because they got everything out when they played the game, and nobody came back the next day and said, oh, you know what? Another thing,
Mm-hmm.
I don't like this,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And then now one person might be feeling nagged, or feeling this other person can't let it go, or something like that. Everything is out and talked about and settled. So that's it. It can be, if they go to my YouTube channel, they'll see couples resolving issues lasting decades, 10, 20, 30, 40, almost 60 years. And on average, those issues are being resolved in less than 26 minutes on average. It just works every time when we have the right structure.
Right.
Okay.
So basically, the cards in conflict resolution, it helps to diffuse situations, different conflict situations. It helps to diffuse high emotions that run.
Right. So all the game really does is it helps the couples communicate in a way that they can actually resolve the disagreement. A lot of us feel like we're great communicators. I can't tell you how many couples have told me that they don't have a problem communicating with each other. But when they sit down to play the game and they get to steps 4 and 5, and he or she says to the other person, so what you're saying to me is, and the other person will say, no, that's not what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to do it 4 or 5 times, Jade, before they get it right. Now, as you can imagine, without the game and you're just having a regular conversation, or you're having a little argument or dispute, you don't get to go over it 4 or 5 times.
Right.
It just
Because
doesn't
everything is escalated.
right.
So you don't get to go over it.
Right. And you just move forward thinking you understand what the partner meant, and tempers just keep getting higher and higher.
Mm-hmm. So some of the methods that you use with your clients are the cards. What is there any other method that you use with your clients?
No,
No,
just the game.
Just the game.
I believe if a regular guy is able to come up with something that works so well, then regular couples should be able to use it with some success. At home by themselves, especially once they learn, because it is different than what they're accustomed to. If you've been resolving your disagreements or trying to resolve your disagreements for 30, 40, 50 years in a certain way, then these 14 steps might be a little out of order. So a lot of times I do have to tell one of the players, wait, we're just on step 4. We're now on step 8. And they say, oh yeah. What I really like is when I'm coaching the couples to play, and they're on a second game, and then the couple one of the parties might say, no, we're not there yet. And the other person say, oh yeah, I'm out of line. Or yeah, I'm out of order. So, which means that, they're learning.
Yeah, I love it. So Rob, where is it that we can find you, and where is it that we can get your cards? And if it is that we want to get in touch with you for persons who may not understand the game and want to be acquainted with the game and purchase the game, where is it that we can contact you?
So everything can be found at my website, whybeangry.net.
Okay.
whybeangry.net. If they go there, if they click on a link that says 3 free tips. I would send them a short video
Mm-hmm.
of 3 free tips of how they can resolve their disagreements without arguing. I think I mentioned that already.
Right.
And also, there's a link there where they can get a personal coaching from me if they need that.
Mm-hmm.
And most people probably do because they're not accustomed to this. And then they can also buy the game there. They can buy the book there. And near the bottom of the page, there are like a bunch of several dozen, I believe, links there where they can actually watch couples playing the game to resolve different
Conflicts.
disagreements.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the name of the link is the issue they're trying to resolve. The one I resolve most often, I have resolved most often, is should she initiate sex more often? You're going to see, should he buy a Harley? Should we buy a wash machine? Do you talk to your baby's mama too much? Do you talk to your ex-wives too much? Do you talk to your friends more than you talk to me? Should she clean the bathroom? It
So
just works.
myriads of things, myriads of conflicts, different conflicts.
Right. It's amazing. I'm still amazed when I play several times. I mean, do I have couple more minutes or no?
Sure.
Several times, more so in the beginning, I would meet with a couple and I would say to myself, once they told me the issue, I'd say, oh man, I don't know if they're going to be able to resolve this one.
Mm-hmm.
Because some of them are so tough, but it just always works. They always pull it out.
Mm-hmm.
This one lady, her husband refused to clean the bathroom for 20 years. For 20 years, he refused to clean the bathroom. He grew up with his mom and 5 sisters or something like that. And they did all the cleaning inside. He would take out the trash and handle the yard. So he just refused. And they resolved it in just no time. I did another couple where here I got to a point where I said, okay, this thing's gonna work every time. Then I go see this couple, and their issue is, should we spank the kids? Well, the guy, he grew up. They were engaged to get married soon. The guy grew up getting his butt whooped bad. He said.
Mm-hmm.
He said his mom used to say, "This is gonna hurt me more than it's gonna hurt you," and he's like, "No, it's not." But she grew up not getting any spankings. So I'm like, oh man, they're kind of far apart. But that wasn't the big deal. The big deal was they had 4 kids. All 4 of the kids were hers.
Okay.
So I was like, oh no, I don't know what they're gonna do here. And they worked it out.
Nice.
It was and very quickly. And the last one I want to say that just came to mind. I was up in Philadelphia with my family, and I was gonna sit on someone's podcast, and the guy was really skeptical. And I said, "Hey, invite a couple on, and we'll do it right on the show." He said, "Okay." So he invited a couple on. Their issue was, should your mama live with us? So the guy's mom came to visit them for the holidays. She lost her home while she was visiting and became homeless. So the wife wasn't cool with that. So I was like, oh no, he's going to have to choose between his wife and his mom, putting his mom out. I'm like, I don't know if they're going to be able to settle this. But they settled it. Every one of these issues was all about communicating, people being able to communicate their thoughts and feelings to the other person and have it received.
Yes.
And that's it. Once you talk to each other and the person's actually listening to you now, it's gonna work. Yep.
Effective communication.
Right.
Love it. So thank you so much, Rod, for speaking to the audience about conflict resolution and the game that they can purchase on your website so that they can play and resolve their issues effectively by communicating properly. Thank you so much for that. And I want to say thank you again to my listeners for continuing to listen to The Unfiltered by Jade. And we'll be back next week, Tuesday. Thank you.